Welcome back to Adventures in Storyland. Today, I'll tell you the story of Jack and the Beanstalk. Here we go. Once upon a time, there was a poor old widow and her only son, Jack. Jack was not always the brightest boy, but he was sweet and caring and always ready to explore the world and do the best he possibly could. But times were hard and food was scarce, and they only had the one cow, and when it stopped giving them milk, the poor old widow knew that they must sell it in the hopes that they could get something, anything, to help their situation be better. And so she said to Jack, "Jack, you must take Milky White, our cow, to market. I need you to ask for no less than 5 pounds for him." "Very good, Mother. How will I get to the market?" "You will take the road, through the forest, to the market. Make sure you stay the straight path." "Yes, Mother, I will do my very best and be home before dark." And so he took a hold of the rope around Milky White and began to lead her into the forest. But Jack liked to explore, and it wasn't long before there was another path that just looked too interesting not to see what lay further down. And so he didn't quite make it to the market in time. In fact, he got pretty lost. But all of a sudden, he met an old man coming in the opposite direction.
"And where are you going, my boy?"
said the old man. Well, I'm off to the market to sell my cow, Milky White."
"Oh, and what will you be asking for her?"
"I am to ask for no more than 5 pounds.
"Is that so?
And the old man looks at the cow. He can see she's old and probably not doing so well.
Well, I'll save you the trip to the market. I'll buy her from you here, but I don't have 5 pounds. I have instead this bag of magic beans. Wouldn't you rather that? Beans are food, and magic is hard to come by or set a price to." "What kind of magic?"
Jack couldn't resist, and so he made the exchange with the old man. And when he got home and gave his mom the bag of magic beans, she was not really happy, because she could not see that they were any different from any other beans ever. And there were not enough to make even a single meal. And so, whoosh, she threw them out the window and said, "Jack, you foolish boy, you have traded away our only asset for nothing." Well, that night they both went to bed hungry and very sad. But the next morning, something amazing had happened, because overnight those beans had sprouted up into a ginormous beanstalk. In fact, a beanstalk that was so large it seemed to reach all the way up to the sky. Well, like I said, Jack couldn't resist an adventure, and he loved to explore. And so, before his mother even knew what had happened, he had begun to climb up to see how far he could get. Well, at the very top, he was quite surprised to find that it led to a whole different world above the clouds. There were huge plants growing everywhere, and in the distance he could see a house. But not a house that was any kind of the size that he was used to. Oh no, this was very clearly the house of a giant. And when he got closer, he saw a huge giantess sweeping the front stoop and humming to herself. "Hello," said Jack, ever friendly. "Well, hello, little one," said the giantess. "Don't you look sweet? Come in, my dear, you must be hungry." And so she picked him up ever so gently and brought him to set him on the table. And there she fed him quite nicely with bits of bread and chicken, or giant chicken, and whatever else she had of lovely little tidbits. And Jack was so happy because he hadn't been so full in months. But then, suddenly, he heard steps in the hallway. "Oh," said the giantess, "that is my husband coming home. You'd best hide. He doesn't like little people." "Oh!" And so Jack hurried up to hide, just in time, and in came an even bigger giant than the one he had been talking with. Sniffed the bigger giant. "Fee, fi, fo, fum, I smell the blood of an Englishman. Be he alive or be he dead, I'll grind his bones to bake my bread." "Oh, pish tosh," says his wife. "You'll do nothing of the sort. Besides, you know I do all the baking anyway. Sit down, have your lunch." Very well." "Smell. Well, let me count my coins first." And he, boom, plops a huge bag of golden coins down in front of him and begins to count. Jack sees that. If I could just get my hands on a few of those, my mom and I would be set for a long, long time. And it wasn't long before the giant began to yawn and nod and sleep. This was the opportunity Jack had been waiting for. He grabbed as many coins as he could gather and shoved them into his tunic, and off he went, climbing down the beanstalk ever so quick, and went, "Mom, Mom, Mom, look what I found at the top of the beanstalk! Gold!" "Jack! What? Tell me everything that happened." And he happily did. "Oh, Jack, this is wonderful, but you must promise me you won't go up there again. That is much, much too dangerous." "Okay, Mom." And for a few days, he didn't. But there was adventure up there, and so once more he began to climb. "Hello," he says to the giantess. "Oh, Jack, you're back," says the giant woman. "Come in and have some lunch." And so she brings him in ever so carefully and sets him down. "Here you are, my dear. Eat up and tell me all about your life, all about what you've been doing." And so Jack happily told her all about all the things down below. But before long, boom, boom, boom. "Fee, fi, fo, fum, I smell the blood of an Englishman. In comes the giant." "Hide," says the giant woman as she quickly sweeps in front of Jack so that he has a chance to run away. And hides in the same place as before and sees how the giant comes in.
I smell the blood of an Englishman. Where is he, woman?
Oh, nonsense. Sit down and have your lunch. What have you brought home today?
Ah, very well. Well, today I found this chicken. Look, it lays eggs of pure gold.
Ooh, thought Jack. Even better. I wonder if I could bring that chicken with me. And so, as soon as the giant had eaten and begun to nod off to sleep, Jack creeps out and grabs the chicken and runs back down the beanstalk. Well, climbs back down the beanstalk. His mom, well, she liked the chicken and the golden eggs, but Jack, you must promise me not to go back up again. It's much too dangerous. Next time they may catch you. All right, Mommy. I promise.
But look at the golden egg!
Ah, well. For a few more days, Jack stayed home as he promised. But the excitement of this new world and all the things that he might possibly discover if he was to return, as well as the giantess's delicious cooking, all lured him back up. And so, hello! Jack, you've returned. Now, please, do not take any more things. My husband was quite vexed about the missing chicken, you know. Oh, I am sorry. I'll be good. Very good. Come in and have some lunch. And so, up she lifted him to the table and set him down and fed him, and they talked and talked until boom, 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 fee, fi, fo, fum. I smell the blood of an Englishman. Be he alive or be he dead, I'll grind his bones to bake my bread, says the giant once more. Oh, nonsense, says the giantess. Here's your lunch. Sit down. Show me what you've got today.
Very well.
And so he sits down and begins to eat. And once he's eaten his fill, he takes out of his bag a harp, beautiful as a spring day and made all of gold. But the most amazing thing was that when he set it on the table, it was as though the harp woke up. The strings began to play on their own, and it began to sing the most beautiful song. La. And before long, the giant began to nod once more. Well, Jack knew he had promised, but he'd broken so many promises already. And so he grabbed the harp and ran, because this was truly a magnificent harp, and he had to show it to his mom. Jack's kind of not a very nice boy, is he? Anyway, off he went and down the beanstalk, but the harp didn't want to be stolen, and so she began to cry out, "Help me! Help me! I'm being stolen away!" And the giant wakes up and is after Jack in a flash, and Jack, he can feel the beanstalk begin to wobble under the giant's weight as soon as the giant sets foot on it. And so he begins to call out as soon as he's far enough down, "Mother, mother, get the axe, get the axe!" And he slides the rest of the way down, grabs the axe, and begins to chop, boom, the beanstalk as fast as ever he can. And at the last moment, the beanstalk to the ground, and the giant falls to his death. Well, there were no more adventures after that, and getting rid of the giant was quite a bit of work. But Jack and his mother were never hungry again, And Jack had learned that perhaps there was more than just within his home. And so they all lived happily after all. Snip, snap, snout. Now the story is out. Tip, tap, tin. Soon a new one will begin.